الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم واتقوا الله لعلكم ترحمون. صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has given us another Jum'ah, another day to remember Him, to worship Him, to thank Him, to be grateful for all of the blessings that we have. Last week we started off with a hadith, and the hadith went on to say that there are three things that a person has to do in order to gain the sweetness of Imaan. And we went through the first thing. Can anyone remember what was the first thing? Nobody? What was the first thing? What do we need to love? Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So if we love Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is what will help us in order to gain the sweetness of Iman. The second thing, which we briefly touched upon, was loving your brother for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So loving each and every single Muslim for Allah's sake. And this is what we will try and elaborate upon today. Allah mentions in the Quran, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً, that all of the believers are brothers. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ, that fix whatever it is between one another. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ, and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that He may show mercy upon you. So we are all brothers. When we speak to a normal person on the street and you ask, who is your brother? You say, this person is my brother. We are both born from the same parents, so we are brothers. Whereas our deen, it is very vast, it is different, and the way it creates the unity and the bond of one ummah and the brotherhood is very special. It is something which keeps us as one, keeps us together, and makes us understand that there is nothing which can break the bond. The thing which unites each and every single one of us is the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And every single one of us, we recite this kalima and it brings us together. We are all part of the same group. It is very important that we understand that there is nothing which, if we do, there is nothing which we can do that will break this bond. And no, it doesn't matter where a person comes from, or what color they are, or what football team they support. Any of these things does make a difference. The thing which unites us is the kalima that we have recited, and it is something which we have to be very, very particular and strong about. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned al-mu'minuna ka-rajulin wahid, that all of the believers are like one body. That in ishtaka ra'suhu ishtaka kullu, that when the head is in pain, all of the body feels it. When a person is feeling unwell, wakes up in the morning, he's not feeling good, he has a headache, he doesn't say, okay, I'll just leave my head at home and the rest of the body can go to work. It all comes together as one. So when the head is hurting, the whole body is hurting. The whole body is the thing that takes the pain. And in ishtaka ra'suhu ishtaka kullu wa in ishtaka 'aynuhu ishtaka kullu. That when the eye is hurting, again, the eye is such a small part of the body. Such a small part of the body, but because of the eye being so, again, the whole body feels it. So the same way, when one of us feels any kind of a pain, when one Muslim feels that pain, all of us should be feeling the pain. And when there is some kind of a goodness, then all of us feel that goodness. Prime example, all of us, I'm sure, were supporting Morocco along the way. It didn't work out, but that is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a big lesson to learn from the team is whenever they won, they went and they performed sujood and they gave thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there was a picture as well after they lost against France. Again, they did the sujood there as well. That they're grateful even in loss. And this is a huge lesson for each and every single one of us. That whatever we go through, whether it is good, whether it is bad, always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has something better written for us. There's a reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does things. Allah knows better than us what is good for us. So this is why we should always be grateful and happy with the decisions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes for us. So it's very, very important that we always understand that we have to stick together. Main thing, that we stick together. I gave the example maybe last week or the week before about the fingers. That when your fingers are out by themselves, very easy to break them. But when you put them together in a fist, cannot break them. So if somebody wants to cause pain to somebody with one finger, it's just a poke. But when you put it into a knuckle, then of course the punch is going to hurt. So in the same way, when we stick together, we will be stronger as an ummah. And this is what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam encouraged, and this is what we have been taught to do. Now, in order to love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to make sure that we understand that this is a teaching of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught the Sahaba. That when we all know the story of the Muhajirin, those that left from Mecca and they went to Medina. They left Mecca and they left everything behind. They took absolutely nothing with them. When they arrived in Medina, the Ansar that were there, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he encouraged them that all of you take one brother with you. Take one of the Muhajirin with you and take him as your brother and help him out. And this is exactly what they did. And very easily they could have said, why should I help you out? Why should I give you this? Why should I give you that? I have worked my whole life for this and now I have to give some to you. But they trusted in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them out. And of course, we also mention the fact that one of the people who will stand under the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment is the one who loved his brother for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now continuing on, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he even gave us ways to encourage and to help us do actions which will bring the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Nabi mentioned in a hadith that these are a person should love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. and he should love his brother for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now in order, and how can a person do that? Rasulullah mentioned, أَفْشُ السَّلَامَ بَيْنَكُمْ, that spread salam amongst yourselves. That wherever you are, whenever you see another Muslim, to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That peace, mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you. We live in the West, we say hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but our deen has given us such a beautiful greeting. So we should use it because it is a way of giving dua to one another. When we give that dua to another, we are saying that may Allah's peace, mercy and blessings be upon you. So it is something good, and not only that, we'll get the same back as a reply. So why don't we act upon this hadith and do afshu salama bainakum? Whoever's sitting next to you, give them salam. Shake their hands, say assalamu alaikum. Don't be shy, everybody's being shy. Do salam. Do salam, yes, this is with a smiling face as well. Do it with a smiling face, mashallah. This is what our deen teaches. See, because with this small action that you have just done now, look how happy everybody is, just meeting one another. And this is what the Sahaba would do, that they would get together. We mentioned during the week in the hadith that whenever they'd be walking down the street, and a tree would come in between. So of course they are walking down the street, they're together, the tree is here in the middle. So what happens is, one goes this way, one goes that way. And so then when they meet again back in the middle, they would do salam again. So this is how they would always be with one another. That the more you give salam to each other, the more the love is going to grow within you. But the thing that we have within ourselves is, who's going to give salam first? Last time I gave him salam first, let's see if he comes to me first today. So we always have this kind of a rule between one another. Like, there's that. Rasulullah mentioned al-badi'u bis-salami bari'un min al-kibr, that the first to go and to give salam will be free from pride. So when a person thinks about giving salam, he says, okay, wait, I am elder, so he should be coming to me. Or I am younger, I don't know if I should go or not. Will it be disrespectful? Or I am sitting, I am standing. So of course there are different rulings when it comes to this. The person who is passing by should give salam to the one who is sitting there. Of course the one who is older, we should try as youngsters to try and go to them and give salam, but that doesn't mean that the elder cannot go and say salam to the youngster as well. Something so simple, something so easy as salam, it is what will help to grow the love for one another in our hearts. And to never think that, I said salam to him the other day, so I don't need to say it to him again. Another important thing, everybody sends text messages, everybody sends a message. Whenever you're sending a message, start off your message with Assalamu alaikum. Don't even say, we have so much ease nowadays that you can even put in the shortcuts. So even if you were I should have had it on my phone and then I could have hooked it up to the screen or showed everybody how to do it with your phone. But so the shortcut, you can, even if you were to put the letter S, you can put it S and then you write it underneath Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So every single time that you would type an S, the whole thing can come up. So those that are lazy, you can have that right there as well. So this is something which we should definitely do as well. Whenever sending a message, remember to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's something that our deen teaches. And see, this is what our deen is. Our deen is learning knowledge and then doing amal upon it. No point knowing everything and then doing nothing. So for example, as a person, he goes out and he spends 7-8 years, he becomes a doctor, and then after he is finished, what does he do? He goes and I don't want to put any jobs down here, so what can we use? Whatever. So he goes out and he becomes a whatever. He doesn't become a doctor, he's a whatever. So he's wasted 8 years of his life doing, learning how to become a doctor, but at the end of it, he done whatever. So there's not a very clever person who spends all that time and does that. So the same way, what is the point of having all this Islamic knowledge and then not acting upon it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us on the day of judgment, the ilm that you had, did you act upon it? And this is where we have to act upon our beautiful deen, which gives us this greeting of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we make sure that we always use it, because these are the words of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said that when you spread salam amongst you, the love between you, it will grow. So, whether that, again another thing, when entering the house, to say loudly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is also a sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That just because of doing this, one, it has many benefits. One is, people know that you have came into the house. They know exactly who it is. If you are going into somebody else's house, if there's any females that need to cover up, they will cover up because they have heard your voice. So these are the things that what we have to do, because there's a wisdom of why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam encouraged us and taught us to do these things. So that is why we have to make sure that we do everything that we possibly can to remember what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. And this inshallah will help us to get and gain that sweetness of Iman. Because this is what we are talking about. How do we reach that status? How do we feel the sweetness of Iman? And finally, the last thing which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned in order to gain the sweetness of Iman is to have hatred for going back to disbelief, towards kufr. And to have that same kind of hate that a person would feel about wanting to go into the fire of Jahannam. So of course, majority of us, alhamdulillah, we were all born as a Muslim. So we don't know and we don't understand the value of Iman. So if a person was to come to us right now and offer us the whole dunya, and say, you have to give up your deen, we have to, this is how we test ourselves. That if somebody was to come and offer us every single thing that we wanted in exchange for our deen, our answer of course it should be, no, we don't want it. Because we know that this life is temporary and there's not much, we're not going to be able to take anything with us as well. So to have that hate in our heart for disbelief, for kufr, once a person has these three things, the love for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the love and being able to love his brother for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and having that hatred towards kufr, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned that he will be able to taste the sweetness of Iman. And when a person tastes the sweetness of Iman, then everything feels easy for him. Doing his acts of ibadah and worship is not like a chore anymore. He looks forward to it and he wants to do it. And this is the stage that we are hoping to go towards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us a tawfiq and understanding to act upon these things. Ameen wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.